Well, we continue with our conversation now, and it's the benchmark values that we're going to. We are joined by the Executive Director, Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana, that is Samson Asaki. He joins us for this conversation. Mr. Asaki, a very good morning to you, sir.
Good morning to you, my brother, and happy New Year. I think in the beginning of the year, this is the first day we are engaging ourselves.
It's only fitting. A very happy New Year to you as well. And we pray for many good things for importers and exporters in the year 2022. I didn't hear an amen or something like that. I thought you'd be excited.
That's a grateful. That's a grateful.
Great.
Grateful to you.
Right.
Amen. To your prayers, yes.
Okay, so we've come to this and this bit about benchmark values. Some people even talk about the fact that other countries don't really have some of what we've been implementing here. But the benchmark values have, in a way, served, the importers to manage certain situations when it comes to the imports in the country and also control pricing. But we have the situation where in recent times we were told, as far as the 2022 budget was concerned, that there were going to be some removals and all of that. And that is where basically the trouble started. The unions started complaining. The AGI was in favor. And now we've got to this point where there's been the threat that if something is not done about the benchmark values, then costs of products from vehicles and all of that are going to go up to very high levels. Now, you representing the importers and exporters, the president has stepped in for now, asking for further or broader consultation. What is your quick reaction to that? An apt move?
Well, thank you very much. I would say that nobody was threatened. Nobody has been threatened. Anybody so far. All what we've been saying is to just look at the condition prevailing at this point in time and explain to the general public and explain to the government that we strongly believe that from our lessons from Christmas to now, the purchasing power of the ordinary Ghanaian hasn't changed. The economic situation hasn't changed. And this is the first quarter of the year. You cannot say you are reversing such a benchmark, a bold, a very robust policy without also engaging with the stakeholders. And we stated clearly that when the letter purported to have written from the GRA Commissioner General to the Finance Minister, stating that they have engaged all the relevant stakeholders and it was time for them to implement it, that was palpable false, and we never had any engagement, and we were calling for an engagement. Yes, from 4th to today, the engine...
Mr. Asaki, just a quick point. So you're suggesting that it was falsehood being peddled when it was suggested that you had been engaged, the importers and exporters, you had been engaged, you were in the know, and this was nothing new to you. You are suggesting that had not happened.
We have made this categorically clear anytime we have the opportunity. In fact, even on the 6th of January, when we met with the finance minister and his management team, we made it clearly, and the finance minister even accepted that that was the first time he himself is sitting in the meeting to listen. And so that is not Asaki to say, that is the reality on the ground. And if you want, you can call my colleagues from GUTA, you can call my colleagues from the Car Dealers Association, you can call my colleagues from Food and Beverages, you can call my colleagues from the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders, Cuba, ACHAC, and the rest, and then they would tell you that what Asaka has said. And since my advocacy, my brother, you know me from Class FM today, I have never come to the media and get through it dash into the eyes of government. From the previous administration to this administration, I always put things concrete, and the truth is always what I do. As advocate, you need not to be told that what you said was lies, and that is your credibility is at stake. I am telling you on record that we were not consulted, and even when you want to know, I admit what I'm saying. You will realize that when the GRA commissioner was even issuing the letter for the benchmark discount values to be reversed, discount to be reversed, he did not even copy the stakeholders. They ought, in other jurisdictions, they were supposed to copy with the heads of the institution first, so that we can even inform and even give us time to inform the general public and to inform importers to prepare themselves psychologically, mentally, and fiscally before this policy was set out there. What this directive came, it came to create havoc, it came to cause fear and panic, and in fact, as you speak, people have gotten BP. Their BP have gone high because You've just issued a letter on the first working day that we were implementing, and people who had even received their tax bill before on the 4th went to pay their monies, their duties, and they were blocked till date as we speak. I'm sure probably maybe you remember it was moved from on the 4th to on the 6th. Then yes. On the 6th was when we had the meeting with the government, the finance minister, and then from on the 6th to 6th on the 17th. So as we speak, the only day that importer can go and take their cargo from the port probably is today, Monday. Because on the 6th, we had Friday, who was holiday. But let me come back to the point. Listen, we are not just raising issues. We are saying that whilst we bring goods to sell, we need to also think about the customers, the ordinary Ghanaian consumers. What are their economic status as we speak now? And we are saying that first quarter of the month, of the year, Ghanaians are going to pay school fees. Children are finished senior high. They are going to the university. They are going to senior high. Parents are going to buy things. You cannot. And let me give you a classical example. Before on the 4th of January 2022, when the benchmark reversal implementation should have taken effect, someone had received his frozen food container duty before on the 4th. I'm sure it got around 27th, 28th, 30th, 31st, thereabout. But because on the 1st, on the 2nd, on the 3rd of January 2022 was holiday, the person could not go to pay the duty. So he was supposed to pay the duty on the 4th. The duty was 42,000 Ghana cedis. But because benchmark reversal took place or was implemented, they blocked the system and they will ask you to call custom. You call custom, they'll give you a code. The person go and input into the computer. Then the duty has moved from 42,000 to 77,000. Another person duty moved from 77,000 to 114,000. Ask yourself, if such a person cleared the cargo, can he or she be able to get a place to sell this? At what price? Can that person still be on business for government to get that person in the taxing to develop this our country? I strongly believe that government is to enable the environment for business community to flourish, then you tax them. However, I am very optimistic that the president have heard our plea. The president have heard our call. We have raised, and of course, you know, the business community are click. I'm sure probably someone who has also, an importer has also whispered to the ears of the president to say, look, Your Excellency, you need to do something with this, or else what pertained in 2019, when the economic management team gave this benchmark discount values to the business community, will prevail today. In fact, the conditions have not even changed. The conditions have even worsened. The plight of Ghanaians has even worsened. At that point in time, dollar rate was 4.5 to our city. Today, dollar is running about 7 Ghana cedis. Let me say it in that direction. As we speak now, there was no COVID-19. Now there's COVID-19, and there's COVID-19 levy at the port. When you are paying import duty, you pay COVID-19 levy. There was no financial service recovery levy. As we speak, the cleaning of the banks, the financial institution, there's a levy that is imposed on the business community at the port. At the time, the health insurance wasn't increased. It has been increased. At the time, the 3% flood rate was 3%. As we speak, it has moved from 3% to 4%. So and of course, if you recall, you've been doing business, JoyNews, you've been doing business news all this while. You remember that between January 2021 to thereabout September, October, freight has moved up high astronomically. Freight was increased from over where people Yes, come in.
So myriad factors, I understand. But I just wanted to sneak in this bit to wrap the conversation. So is there any shape or form? And we know, I mean, how some of these things work. My mind goes back to VAT, though technically it's not the same thing we're looking at here. But initially the push and shove, and it's being withdrawn, and then subsequently brought back. And it's been maintained since. Is there a shape, a form that the reversal of the benchmark values can take that will be acceptable to the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana? I mean, are there certain quantums that ought to be addressed, percentages that ought to be looked at that would be acceptable for you, or is it a complete no-no? Just give me an answer to that finally, and let's conclude.
Well, I'm sure you heard that the finance minister held some press conference, and in his press conference, the finance minister made mention that if government, he is very much aware that if government is going to reverse this benchmark values discount, definitely the government have to find a ways and means to mitigate the business community, isn't it?
Right.
We were thinking that ways and means to mitigate. Was it announced? Was there any engagement to that effect? Did the government tell us, I'm taking this out, I'm bringing you this? That hasn't done. And that is why we talk about there was no consultation. If there were to be consultation, they wouldn't have allowed the GRA to issue such a statement until we have received and say, okay, well, we've gone to roundtable discussion. If you go to negotiation, yes, you may probably, if you're a very good negotiator, you want to push together about 70, 80. But however, if you are, at the end of the day, you get 60, 65%, you will say, okay, well, it's not bad, isn't it? But that has not been done. As I speak with you, we don't know. We asked the minister when we met him on the 6th of January 2022, and so that mitigation process wasn't brought. And so, if you are talking about a reduction in the percentages, isn't it? We don't know yet. We are not. We are waiting. The president has given direction. He says suspend it, do a wider consultation. I've seen other media houses. I never put on record. Other media houses are saying that the president has asked that from now to 17 will be enough. And I think that's not what the president have said. The president used the keyword wider consultation. Wider consultation cannot take from now to 17, then that will be enough. I strongly believe that we have to go beyond 17 that people are talking, including your good self, who are reaching these issues currently.
Samson, thank you. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. Samson Asaki there with the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana. And we wish you the very best in that enterprise.